How's it going, guys? I had an interesting thing happen today in one of my guitar classes. We were working on this song Let Her Go by Passenger, and it's a very difficult guitar part, at least the first part of the song. There's finger picking involved, and there is also the nasty F chord. And the best way I found to deal with that F chord is actually to use your thumb on the bass. Instead of playing a traditional bar F chord, is to wrap your thumb around and put your thumb on the first fret. Realize when you're capoed on fret 7, it's kind of a tight squeeze. Well, something dawned on me, and I told the kids, well, I'm going to try to do it with a different tuning. And basically, I'm going to tune the low E string up 1/2 step so it rings out an F. And I went through part of the intro, and it seemed to work really well, actually, and cut down on the difficulty in terms of the F chord. So what I'd like to show you today is what I've come up with as a solution to playing that song in the traditional manner that is shown on most of the chord charts and tabs that I've seen, dealing with that thumb wrapped around the neck, which is not a problem in itself once you learn how to do it. The problem is that it's such an awkward chord pattern that he has put together that it is an upper level, probably technique, at least for, intermediate down to beginner players. I don't know that a beginner player would even be able to play it. Intermediate may struggle a little bit. I think that the system I've come up with by tuning that low E string up 1/2 step to F seems to work. We're capoed on fret 7, so the traditional chords that you're used to are going to sound really high. The problem I mentioned earlier is the F chord. And to do a barred F chord does not work for this chord pattern for this song because there are some open strings involved, and there's no way to get those open strings cleanly with a bar form. So the alternative is to wrap your thumb around, get the F on the bottom, and then the rest of the chord on top. Now that's not easy either. It's a lot easier if you're not capoed so high. So we've kind of got a double problem here. But I will tell you now that if you're going to play any kind of acoustic guitar, even electric guitar, get used to, or at least practice a little bit wrapping your thumb around. It's really a cool little technique, and it will enable you to do some things that you maybe couldn't do without the help of like an altered finger. There have been many people who have done tutorials on this song, so I don't want to labor the process. I just want to show you a solution that I've come up with in terms of one of the difficulties of playing this piece of music. So basically what I'm going to do is take this low E string and bring it up to an F. I'm just going to do it by ear. Of course your guitar is going to sound a little bit funny, but it's worth it. Okay, let's put the capo back on, and now let's look at what we've done in terms of solving our problem. I'm going to play the pickup. And that's your first measure plus the pickup. Now the next measure is F again. Let's do half of the next measure. That's all there is. It's 1 and 2 and. It's the first 2 beats of the next measure. Thumb, index, thumb, middle. This is real basic Travis picking. Let's go from the beginning again. That's it. The next chord is that G, and that's a pesky little chord too. Now think about it. Your G now occurs not on the 3rd fret, but on fret 2, on the 6th string. This is much easier to do than is this, the traditional G form. Now your 2nd finger being on the 2nd fret. So now let me combine measure 2, which is conserving movement here. You've got an A minor, but you've got a hammer on it. And you really have to hammer on with your 3rd finger. So that problem's solved too. The rhythm in that measure is a little bit different. It's 2 8th notes, a quarter, 2 8th notes, and a quarter. So it's 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Now the very next measure is all G. You've got a quarter note and 2 8th notes. For those of you who have learned a lot of chords, you'll know this form is looking a lot like a D/F sharp. We know it's now a G because of our slight altered tuning. The next measure is what you've already done. It's a repeat. Which measure 7 is the hardest one of them all, but no longer, due to the fact that we're tuned differently. You're going to pull off the 3rd fret to an open string, land on this F, and then you're going to get into G position, which is easier again. So that measure and then back to your A minor. No hammer on this time. Basically what we have done now is use creativity to problem solve. One thing about being a musician, you really do have to learn to problem solve. Fingerings that come up, sounds that come up, difficulties, hard passages, fast scales, difficult chords. It all comes your way eventually the longer you're involved in music, and you find ways to deal with it. And the more ways you find to deal with it, the better you get in the long run in terms of your playing. You start to figure out that certain solutions you've come up with will apply themselves to other pieces of music. So I really recommend this because it's not hard to retune your string up a half step. It's not like you're tuning your whole guitar down a half step or down a whole step. You're tuning one string up 1/2 of a step. The way you would do that is very easy, and the work it saves you is incredible. You just have to remember certain things, that your F is now here and that your G is here. It's easy to go back to playing G on the 3rd fret because you're not used to it. Now I'll say one more thing about this song. This song requires a lot of repetition to get it down. If you want to play it correctly, you are going to have to do some work on it. It's a nice song. It's a great guitar part to learn for, like always, for future songs that will have something similar to this in it. And then you've already mastered that technique. Let me run you through the first ending. Now the second ending, and then you're into the verse. Whenever you get to the strum section and you need to strum these chords, I don't really see you having to do much different. If you do a G chord, your G for the bottom string is going to be in the 2nd fret. Your F, leave it open. This is the best solution I found to handle this song. When you get your guitar back into standard tuning, play your first string open and your bottom, and match them. I hope that helps you overcome one of the more difficult guitar quagmires you can get yourself into when you're trying to learn a song. It becomes difficult when fingerings get in the way of performing music. That's just the way it goes. Fingerings on the guitar are not as cut and dry as they are on the piano because of the way the guitar is laid out. Well, we have to find solutions though. Playing guitar parts that are extremely hard, it should never be the goal. It should be about making music. If the parts are hard, it's just an outcome of you wanting to make music sound a certain way. In the end, you want everything to sound good and everything to be decently playable so that you're not struggling so much. Okay, I'll see you next time with another video, and I can't tell you what it's going to be. It's pretty random, just like I am. I'm always random, always random, always random, always random, always random. The 3 rules: like, subscribe, and comment. And if you have questions, just write me and I will answer them. Okay, another day. Talk to you soon.